Hello, this is Father Bill Watson, and this is a question for our YouTube channel, Ask Father Bill. And today's question is, are sexual sins the greatest sins? I wish I had more context for why you're asking this question. I think you ask any priest, when people come to confession, they oftentimes mention sexual sins first. I think they're the most embarrassed by them. William Johnston, the Jesuit from Ireland, who wrote a book called Mystical Theology, the Science of Love, says this: it's already been said, he says, that in describing the human person in the state of the fallen nature, St. John of the Cross speaks of the 7 deadly sins rooted in what we now call the unconscious. Among these is the vice of lust. That is to say, unintegrated and uncontrolled sexual desire. In the beginning Christian, this lust rises up, he says, even in times of prayer. However, I knew a very, very holy old Jesuit in his 80s who tried to console me once when I was in my 20s. He says, I sit here, I'm having all these holy thoughts, and then suddenly I imagine that door opening up and a whole line of chorus girls walking into my room. So even for older people, that can come up. But he continues, at the root cause of the cruel Babylonian exile, Jeremiah had doubts. The people had forgotten God. You did not listen to me, says the Lord, and so you have provoked me to anger. Jeremiah 25:7. Johnston says the same theme runs through all of the Bible, and Hosea offers a simple and compassionate solution. Return, O Israel, to the Lord your God, for you have stumbled because of your iniquity. Humble return to a loving God is the answer. The great Alexander Solzhenitsyn wrote that more than half a century ago, while I was still a child, I recall hearing a number of older people offer the following explanation for the great disasters that had befallen Russia. Men have forgotten God. That's why all this has happened. And he continues, he says, since then I have spent well nigh 50 years working on the history of our revolution. In the process, I have read hundreds of books, collected hundreds of personal testimonies, and have already contributed 8 volumes of my own toward the effort of clearing away the rubble that left that upheaval. But if I were asked today to formulate as concisely as possible the main cause of the ruinous revolution that swallowed up some 60 million of our people, I could not put it more accurately than to repeat: men have forgotten God. That's why all this has happened. St. Paul, looking at the corrupt Roman Empire, has a similar reaction. The empire is filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, covetousness, and malice, Paul states. He writes in Romans 1, they are without excuse, for though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him. Toward the end of his life, St. Ignatius said that he thought that the greatest sin anyone could commit was a sin against gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of life and all that God so freely bestows. So no, sexual sins are not the greatest sins, because when we look out now at the chaos in our world, we can with assurance say, all this is happening mainly because people have forgotten God, have not honored God, or given thanks to him. People lack gratitude, and I hope that helps.